Doing? Is it recording? Hi everyone. My name is Tochi. I'm currently senior product manager at Amazon, and I want to share two tips I believe helped me get four job offers within 3 weeks after I had migrated from Nigeria to the UK. So quickly, one of the first tip I believe that really helped set myself up for success was treating my job search like my actual job. After I moved from Nigeria to the UK and I decided that I want to get a job, what I did was to say, getting a job in the UK is my job. And that meant that I put in the same number of hours that I would have put in if I was employed into getting the job. So the first thing I did was treat my job search like my actual job. I would wake up in the morning, do everything I had to do, and by 9 a.m., I was seated at my desk looking for jobs, and I would continue to do that till about 4 to 5 p.m. every day because my job at that time was to get a job. So that was the first thing I did. I treated my job search like my actual job, and I put in about 8 to 10 hours every day looking for a job. Because if I really had a job, that's the same amount of time I would be required to put in my actual job. So that was the first thing I did. I treated my job search like my actual job. And I set a goal for myself. My goal was to get at least 2 interviews by the third week. Again, if I really had a job, I would have metrics. I would have goals I needed to work towards. So for me, my goal at that time was to get 2 job interviews within 3 weeks. So I would start 9 a.m. going through job boards. The job board I used was Indeed. I love Indeed. So I used Indeed. I would wake up, do everything I had to do by 9 a.m., start my job search, look for product manager roles because I'm a product manager, look for product manager roles, and I would see a list of them on Indeed. And then I would start sending in those job applications, applying for those jobs. The second thing I did was to upskill. Once I started looking through the open jobs available in the UK, I was also going through them in detail, reading through the job descriptions, reading through the basic qualifications, and I was trying to understand which ones was I qualified for as is, and which ones did I need to acquire additional skills or upskill so that I can be qualified for them. So that was what I would do. I would go through Indeed, go through a list of jobs, all the ones I felt like I was a match for based on my experience and my resume. I would immediately send an application for the ones where I felt like I liked, but I wasn't entirely a match because there were some qualifications that they needed that I did not have, or there were some skills that they required that I did not have. I would save those for later, make a note of them, and then go to YouTube or Google to try to search for either those qualifications or those skills. So for some of them, it just required me learning some other stuff that I did not know, and I would use YouTube to do that. YouTube is such a great platform. There are a lot of free resources there. So I would use YouTube to do that. At that time, a lot of the jobs that were open, they were looking for people who were either Scrum Masters or Scrum Product Owner. So another of my goal was to get that certification. So I did apply, enroll to get certified as a certified Scrum Product Owner. So that was what I would do. I'll start the day applying to all the jobs that I was a good match for. And then the ones that I felt that I wasn't a good match for, but I liked, I would save them for later and then go to YouTube, try to go through like a lot of the numerous free videos and then learn those skills that they were looking for, system design, all of those skills. And then, like things about like cloud practitioner. I would go and then look for every free resource I could find, trying to upskill on those. And then the ones that require certification, I started like, the process of trying to get certified based on what they needed. Honestly, that was what I was doing. On every day, I would send an average about 8 job applications. So I would send, like, my goal was doing like to do about like 8 to 16, as much as I could every day. But on the average, it was about 8 applications I would send, because I would still use the remaining hours in those days to learn, you know, go through courses, trying to acquire those skills. By the beginning of the second week, I was getting a lot of rejection emails. I would open my inbox, and I would see, oh, thank you for applying, but we're sorry at this time. We want to go through with other candidates, blah, blah, blah. But again, I felt like that was normal. I did not let that affect me, because as a product manager, we know this. Like, most of the time, when we're trying to when we're trying to prioritize all the features we want, not everything is going to get prioritized. A lot of them are going to go below the line. So it's normal not to get, like, everything I wanted at that time. So I didn't let that deter me. I just kept applying, because again, my goal was to get 2 job interviews by 3 weeks. By mid end of the second week, I started to get, calls from recruiters. I started to get those emails inviting me for an interview, and it was amazing. By the end of the second week, I had about 8, I would say, 8 invitation for interviews. So this was me crushing my goal. This was me exceeding my goal. I was so ecstatic. I was getting those calls from the recruiters. It was amazing. Out of the 8 interviews that I got, and after like speaking to the recruiters, I was able to advance, to the next stage, which was speaking to the hiring manager for about 5 of them. So again, this was not bad, because my original goal was to get 2 interviews in the third week, and I was able to get 8, I believe, by the second week. So my strategy by the third week changed from job application to preparing for these interviews. And after, speaking to the recruiters, I was able to advance to the next stage for 5 of them. Out of those 5 of them, after speaking to the hiring managers, I was able to move again to the next stage, like the loop, and get to speak to more members of the team, more people, for 4 of them. And I did get those 4 job offers. And for me, because I did not have anything doing, anytime I was asked, oh, when are you available for an interview? I was available right now. I was available like in the next hour. Like, when I would get like those emails to say, oh, give me like, all the times that you're available so that we will try to schedule. It was always like within the hour, within the next week, because within the next day, sorry, because I was available. So, and I felt like because of that, I was able to do a lot of interviews, in one day, in 2 days. And that was how I was able to go through, like, the 4 or 5 interview stages in one week. And thankfully for me, those companies were also available pretty fast. Like, so they were able to match my availability and my time. And by the end of the third week, I had four job, offers in my inbox. I had 4 job offers where there was being invited to negotiate salary by the end of the third week. So I had crushed my goal. And thinking back, I would say, of course, apart from like updating your resume and making sure that, your resume speaks about the experience you have, these 2 things that I did set myself for success. And to recap, those 2 things were: one, treating my job search like my actual job and putting in 8 to 10 hours every day looking for a job. And the second one was upskilling, identifying the skill gaps and what was needed, and ensuring that I was able to learn to acquire those certifications as quickly as possible. So those were the 2 things that I did, that I believe really set me up for success. And again, like I said in the beginning of the video, I am not discounting the God factor. I'm a Christian. I prayed, and I believe that, God and the Holy Spirit helped me. So I hope this has been helpful to someone out there who may be going through, like, their job search process. I know right now the market is so crazy. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you have, and if you haven't, or of course, still like, subscribe, and comment. And again, I will be dropping more videos like this. So till next time, bye.